Hello all, and I am back after forever because changing work schedules messed up as I don't know what's going on upstairs. Basically messed up my sleep schedule, which meant that I just was coming home and basically dying every day I came home and just didn't have time to do these. But I thought I would do maybe a big, long, just kind of catch up on everything that I can remember. Didn't write anything down. Probably should have. But yeah, we'll just go right off the top of my head and we'll see what we can do. So let's start with the big thing, which was G1. G1, of course, is over. Kota Ibushi won. I shouldn't have been surprised with that, but I really felt really shouldn't have been surprised with that. I mean, that does make the most sense, but I thought with everything going on, New Japan might change things up. New Japan changed things up. Imagine that. And just go real basic and real just safe. And I thought we were going to get like Okada and Tanahashi maybe in the finals. Not what we got. We got Sonata and Ibushi. Not that that was bad. I think Sonata is good. I think he still has a ways to go. But, him and Evil both, I feel like, are what they are. But yeah, really good tournament. If you didn't see anything, you definitely need to go back and watch the Ishii matches because he was the MVP. Yes, Markeem, it was Ishii. It was not Jay White. I don't know why Markeem Nightmare thought that, Jay White would even come close to being the MVP of the G1. Yes, he had the best story. Yes, he cut pretty good promos, but to make up for everything match-wise, he would be having to cut like some Jake Roberts shit, and he wasn't doing that. So yeah, don't even know. That's not even, yeah, it was good stuff. And as we would expect, of course, they announced 2 dome shows for Wrestle Kingdom. Again, I was kind of shocked by that. I think pretty much maybe everybody was because, oh my God, 2 dome shows again with everything that's going on. Can't imagine they're going to be able to bring in any international talent. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do to make these shows so that even no matter how many people they can have there, what they do with that. So yeah, that'll be an interesting thing to see and to see what goes on. And of course, we're going to get, I remember right, we're going to get the junior tag, right? Aren't we getting the junior tag team tournament and the regular tag team tournament all at one time, if I remember right, which should be really good. So that will be good. And of course, Power Struggle is coming on, which is basically a stopgap. But again, didn't look like they announced a lot because they're trying to keep the show short, which is kind of good. It's good for me because I'm not going to be able to watch them live anymore, so I'll have to do a lot of catch-up. And it's much easier to catch up when the shows are like 2.5 hours. So yeah, amen to that. Yeah, so that's been good. I did finally get caught up on New Japan Strong, which is their American show, which is on the New Japan app. And it's pretty good, I'm going to say. It's hard for me to judge because there's no fans. The wrestling's pretty good. The talent is interesting, to say the least. I like it. It makes me wonder exactly like what would be going on if some of these guys could actually be in New Japan proper. But it is fascinating to see that the tournaments were pretty good. I definitely, it's funny because I watched those tournaments. I'm like, these are pretty good, and then I watched the Ring of Honor tournament, the Pure tournament, which my biggest complaint with that is there really hasn't been like that amazing match. And I'm maybe part of that is that there's no fans, but there really just hasn't been that amazing match. And I really feel like that's what's needed. We might get that in the finals. We might get that. But it's kind of interesting because everything else around it has been really good. Like all of the video packages have been really good, even when we got to the semifinals and they started doing, they did the 2 promos with EC3 and Vincent, which were, those were good. Those were good to add at that point. So All of that I think is really interesting, but the wrestling didn't keep up. And I think with New Japan Strong, I think it's kind of the same thing, where I feel like the added kind of sizzle isn't really there, but I'm curious how much of that is just because of every kind of thing kind of going on, and they're trying to portray something that's a thing. And this is a very small thing. The only other thing with New Japan Strong is the ring. The ring is kind of like, because it's so small, it kind of like to me, but it is what it is. But the wrestling's really good. Even the young boy stuff, even though some of the guys I wouldn't really consider young boys that they're calling young boys, but hey, it is what it is. It is good. So it's an interesting show, and I would say if there's more wrestling for you to watch, it's something to watch. I wouldn't say it's nothing to go out of your way to watch. It would be, I would say, if you're not okay, let's say you're watching NXT. So let's go down where I might put it. AEW, I'll say NXT. I don't watch NXT. Then I would probably throw Ring of Honor in there. Then Impact. Then this probably, because just throwing Dark completely out of the picture. So there is that, and plus you have all the other like stuff that we get every week. But yeah, there was that too. So there we go. So that. And like I said, with Ring of Honor, I've been watching the Pure title. I like the shows. I think the shows are really good. I think the shows have been enjoyable. You can definitely see where there's lots of like improvement since the last time I watched Ring of Honor. Just the talent, I think, it is very much lacking, which I think is a problem, because I think you look at AEW, and AEW is what everyone wanted Ring of Honor to be for so long, and it wasn't. And now you basically have Ring of Honor, you have AEW, and you have Impact, and to a lesser extent MLW, I guess, but all kind of clamoring over the same talent. And I think that I've always felt like that's a problem, because I really do feel like there needs to be like kind of a hierarchy, and it always kind of, I get it, because I've been told that like the Impact contracts are really good for what they are, but I'm still kind of surprised people are signing there, B, that if they're signing there, are the other companies trying to get the people that are signing there, and kind of see it I mean, you can't have everybody everywhere, but there's definitely, you would think, some different stuff, so you would think. But I've always, that's just something that's always kind of like bugged me in a lot of ways. So there we go. Then we have AEW, and I did not watch Dark last week, even though it looked like it was probably better. But the the start of the tournament, which was a tournament show, which was a packed show, for more reasons than one, was something to see. We had we had Jungle Boy versus Wardrow. That was surprising. I would have thought Jungle Boy would have won, but I also get kind of where they're going. They probably don't want, Jungle Boy having to take on, they don't want like a heel versus. I get it. I get where they were kind of going with that. And then, of course, you had the Kenny Omega match, which was absolutely like perfect in what it was. And I have no idea how Dave Meltzer does not get that Kenny Omega is a heel. I get that he kind of takes them at face value, and that, we don't do really faces versus heel. He's not really a heel. He's just kind of doing all of this stuff. And I'm kind of like, no, he's a swarmy little bastard of a heel. I mean, that's what he is. So we had that. You had Phoenix and Pentagon, which was just outstanding. Even with somebody getting hurt in the match, it was like amazing. Yeah, so unfortunately that Phoenix got hurt, but match was still a lot of fun. What else did we have on that? Then we had Hangman and Colt Cabana was good, which is kind of what I expect. I like Colt Cabana, but Colt Cabana isn't a guy you're going to necessarily go out there and have like an amazing match with. Just kind of how it is. So yeah, and then yeah, that was yeah, and then we had the tag match, of course, which was a lot of fun. I personally did not notice dude getting knocked out myself while watching it, but that's probably because I was watching. There was so much other stuff going on. I didn't notice it, but that's just a crazy story to think that someone gets knocked out and nobody notices. I will completely agree with that, but you know, that's the one thing I wonder about AEW is weird things like that continue to keep happening. So there we go. And of course we had the musical, AEW the musical. Now, personally, I watched it, kind of was like, what the hell is this? And then really started enjoying it. My wife was watching with me. She was completely like, what is this? I actually showed my best friend who doesn't like pro wrestling at all. He saw it as like low-rent comedy, which I didn't exactly get. But yeah, so I know, I think any opinion you have on this is probably the right opinion. I don't see this as something that they will ever do again, at least something like that, but it is something to do like one-off. I personally, this is me, what I would have done, and this is just my crew, when I saw it, I thought this is what they were going to do, and then they didn't do it, was, you know, it's basically, you know, when, if you go back and watch it, when MJF says, you know, just imagine it, Chris. And then they go into the whole thing, and then they sat down, and you realize that basically Chris imagined the whole thing. I think that would have been funny. I think that would have been like, okay, that's kind of cute. That's kind of interesting. I think maybe people wouldn't have been as upset. I think people still probably would have been upset, but it would have been a little more cutesy of doing the whole, oh, this didn't really happen. This all happened in Chris's head kind of thing. I think that would have been interesting. Myself, but what do I know? And yeah, I guess that's everything I can think of. I'm sure I'm missing like a whole bunch of stuff. Oh yeah, Khabib retired. I'm kind of sad about that because I out of everyone in UFC, he was the guy that I enjoyed the most. Always did. Always found it funny when people basically said, you know, he just laid, prayed, because that's not what the dude did. You know, him basically going undefeated for his career was something. But I can also completely get why he retired too. So I completely get that. You know, he's probably the last of the current group of UFC guys that I really enjoyed. So yeah. So there was that. Anything else? Anything else I'm missing? Anything else I can't think of? I think that's it. I think. I think. You know. Oh, I'm maybe one of you can explain this to me. Maybe, and I guess I could probably look at Cage Match and see. But has Grisham and I can't think right off the top of my head. I can't think. His tag partner. Jay Lethal. Have they ever wrestled against each other? I'm just curious about this. I'm sure they probably have. I'm in ROH. I'm sure that has probably happened. The reason why I say this is because the other day, one of the Voices of Wrestling guys put up that, you know, he was talking about Taz and Sabu, and so we got into the whole like Taz and Sabu being kept apart and why it worked and how awesome it was, and it's something that I'm sure a lot of fans do not understand and can't fathom if you go back and actually look at it, because like when it happened, I'm wondering if, and like I said, I'm sure they have wrestled each other and I just don't know it, if they are keeping them apart for that reason, because they're tag partners, right? And they haven't wrestled each other, even though they wanted to wrestle each other, and maybe that's what leads to the breakup of like competitiveness, and competitiveness gets the best of one of them. Maybe, I don't know. I could be talking on my ass. I'm sure someone would be like, "Oh no, they wrestled like 6 months ago or a year ago, so don't worry about it. But just a thought. I think that's it. I think that's all I can think of. Yeah. So should be back. This is Monday. Of course, I didn't watch Raw. Didn't watch Hell in a Cell either. So we will be back. We'll probably say Thursday. Maybe. You know, I did watch Ring of Honor, so that would be that. So maybe back Thursday. Maybe back Wednesday. Maybe. We'll see. Because I can stay up Wednesday because Wednesday's what I had. You guys don't know about that. But anyways, oh, and if you've never watched The Boys on Amazon Prime, you should watch The Boys. If you're watching this and you like comic book stuff, good stuff. Much better than the... I'm not going to say much better than the comic. It's better than the comic just because the comic is like super like make fun of comics and superheroes suck and all of this sort of thing. That's really not what this is. They toned it back a little bit and dealt with a lot of the themes that were a lot better. So there is that. Yeah, and I'm done, I guess. Have a good one. You guys, talk to you later.